We thought we'd take this time before we start cutting up leather to give you some idea what to look for in leather, how to cut it, save you ruining maybe some leather. This is a typical hide. This particular hide is kid skin, but it's a full hide that we could get on the table to give you some idea of direction of cut. The backbone of the animal would be right about here. When you cut on a hide, you are going to want to cut with the stretch going in certain directions. As with the top of your boot, the top pattern itself, you're going to want the stretch to go around, so that as he pulls his boot on, it doesn't keep stretching and getting bigger, and also it will act as a little bit of an elastic bandage type thing, so it would expand to let his foot in and then come back on it. The stretch of animals will go from belly to backbone. So the stretch of this animal runs this direction here greater than it does this direction. If I were to cut the top on this animal, I would cut it in this direction here. Okay, so that the boot itself would stretch more this way than it would lengthwise. There are certain areas of a hide that you're not going to want to cut on. The leg area from here on down, the belly area down in this area here. When you cut your vamp out, you're going to want to cut your vamp with the stretch going the direction of the toe. If you've bought any boots in the store, you've noticed sometimes that one will stretch out of shape and the other one won't. That's simply because one vamp was cut with the stretch going to the toe, one vamp was cut with the stretch going this way. So the boot with the stretch going this way walked out on you. When they're in the factory and the clicker man is standing there cutting out his vamps, his job is to get as many pieces out of this hide as he can. He isn't necessarily concerned about stretch. So they're going to take, and they will be going along, and they will be putting stretch to the toe, to the toe, to the toe, and he may come to here, and he'll say, gee, that's a nice piece there, we'll just turn it this way and it'll fit right in there. He's already messed up the pair of boots. I try and cut the vamp, the front of your boot, out of the heart of the hide. I try to get up as close to the backbone as I can, because this is your best area. This area right along the backbone is the best area. The same rule applies to sole leather. Shoe repairmen know that belly leather is no good. It doesn't make any difference whether we're talking sole leather or garment leather, boot leather, the same rule applies. When you lay your hide out, look at it. Spread it out and look at it. You're going to want to look for grub holes. You're going to look for brands. Sometimes the cowboys put the brands in the darndest places. They can ruin a good hide that way. After you've inspected one area for color, consistency, sometimes the factories, they tumble these in a great big, almost dryer and add color to it, and that's how they dye these hides quite a bit at a time. And maybe it was folded over and didn't get quite a bit of dye on this area. So check your hide. And I try to cut my vamps as close together as I can, so I'm working with a similar piece of leather. Turn your hide over. I chose this particular hide because I wanted to show you some things to look for. This hide has been scalloped when they skinned the animal. These are knife marks here on it. If you were to use this in making a vamp, he would wear it a year and all of a sudden he would start getting splits out. It would start to split out in this area. There's a small cut here. On it. There's a cut down in this area. There's even a little bit back in here. Good leather will feel almost like velvet on the back. I've known some boot makers to take and touch it to their cheek to try and find the softest part, the best part of it.
You might show them the footage mark on there, how the hides are marked.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. All hides that you buy will have footage marks on them. This particular hide is 9 feet even. You pay for 2/10 of a foot. You pay for all the scraps you're going to throw away. They run it. Most of the tanneries have computerized tables now. They'll lay it on a table like this, pass a scanner bar over it, and it reads how many square footage of leather it has on it. I thought we might go through some of the different leathers and give you some idea of their textures and so forth. Some of the things that we've learned the hard way. Each type of leather works differently, stretches differently. One of the ways you learn is just to do it. I've gone through considerable amount of crocodile, and I'm still not sure that I've got that down right. This is kid skin, goat skin. It is very nice to work with. Out of all the leathers, I think, dress leathers, I enjoy working with kid skin the best because it doesn't tear easily. It is very soft. They make it in a smooth finished leather like this, and they make what's called glazed kid. Glazed kid has more of a shiny finish to it on it. So if you wanted a dressier pair of boots than this, you could even go to glazed kid and get a brighter finish to it. If you were to pick a leather from this, I would say go to Kangaroo. There's a piece of Kangaroo. Kangaroo is one of the finest dress leathers I've ever found. It has an inherent drawback in that it scuffs. It scuffs something terrible. The finish has a tendency to peel up on it. So if you have somebody that is terribly hard on their finish of their boots, that doesn't particularly take care of their boots, this isn't what you're going to want to put them in, because it won't stand outside abuse. For its weight, it's very tough. It's very elastic, much more elastic than kid skin. It also has a tendency to tear a little easier. You will notice this when you get into lasting it, getting back to width of lasting pliers. This is a good example of a leather that you would use a wider jawed lasting plier on, because you have a tendency to pull chunks out of it with a narrow one. I'll show you some little heavier leathers here. I don't know if we can pick up on the texture of this hide or not. This is water buffalo. It has a very textured finish, a very wrinkly finish to it. Water buffalo is one of the toughest hides I've found to work with. In fact, I soak it in a stretching solution before I make the boot out of it, because you can soak it in water for an hour and it really doesn't change its workability much. Water buffalo has another characteristic in the sense that it doesn't have much stretch to it. I think you find it true that either water buffalo boots fit or they don't. There's not much break-in or stretch to them afterwards. Let's see. This is an oil-tanned work boot. Tony Lama calls it a re-tan. It's a leather that has been treated and tanned with oil. So it is going to be much more resistant to water, much easier to take care of. All they basically have to do to something like this is to clean it once in a while, put some oil back on it. This is one shade of it I thought I'd show you. And the darker shade. This makes into a very nice looking boot, very durable boot. This is about 3-ounce leather. All your dress leathers are going to run about 1.5 ounces to 2-ounce leather. Whites in Spokane, when they make the lace-up boots, run from 3 to 4-ounce leather. They run a very, very stiff leather. And the name of the game in anything made out of leather is the thicker, the more leather you put on their foot, the more durable it is. It holds true with boots as well. I'll show you some bullhide here. Bullhide seems to be the big trend right now. I sell quite a few, well, in fact, I probably sell more bullhide boots than I do all other skins combined. Do it like so. This is a bullhide, a very highly textured leather. Can we pick up on the texture at all?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bullhide is wonderful to work with. This is the most forgiving stuff in the world. You can pull, tug, scream, yell at it, and it's very forgiving. As you start lasting boots, you'll appreciate that more and more. Not only that, but when you buy a side of bullhide, it's big. You can get many, many pairs of boots out of this. It isn't something that you would probably use for tops. I have had a request for an all bullhide pair of boots. Fine, I let the customer be the judge of that. But it makes a very, very dressy boot, a very exotic looking boot for a reasonable price. I'll show you a couple different colors of that to give you some idea. See, that's a good looking leather. Textured leathers, you can tell the people will look nicer longer simply because they have the wrinkles already in them. It's a soft vegetable tan. It's 3 to 4 ounces thick, very durable. If you have a guy that comes in and says, I want a pair of boots that look great, but I don't take care of them, or I'm going to wear them every single day, put them in bull hide. It's going to look great for the longest amount of time, and it's tough. It's 4 ounces thick. Again, something to consider. I think as far as the standard everyday leathers go, I use 2 to 3 ounce cowhide. I try to use 2 to 3 ounce for my upper leather. We probably should touch a little bit here on lining leather before we get into the exotics. I use pigskin to line my boots with. I like pigskin. It's a very, if you've had any experience with pigskin at all, you know that pigskin, the hair follicles go all the way through. So it breathes. If you have somebody that perspires an awful lot on their feet, this is going to stand up to them longer. Your cream cow, your orthopedic tan leathers have a tendency to rot out. I'm sure you've had boots come in, if you've been in the repair industry at all, where the lining's rotted out and starting to curl up on them. Pigskin will stand up to them better on it. It's every bit as tough. It does smell a little stronger. I have noticed that pigskin does seem to smell a little bit stronger. I'll show you some orthopedic tan leather here. This is also, no, this is cowhide. This is an orthopedic tan. They call it cream cow when you order it. It comes in a sort of a buckskin shade, and it comes in a lighter shade like this. Be aware of the fact that there is bad leather out there. We bought a great deal of this white leather, and it is terrible. It tears very easy. So not something that you want lining leather for. I use this, I cut my heel pads out of this, and I cut some fillers for the bottom of the sole. If I need to put a stiffener in, I will use this as a filler. Because it's bad doesn't necessarily mean you're stuck with it. You can find a use for it. I don't make boots out of imprints. I don't feel that that's a custom bootmaker's right. They're paying you for a better boot than that. I've got a piece of imprinted leather here. I'll show you. The trouble with imprinted leather is that as you stretch it, the imprint comes out of it. This is a very, very pretty lizard print. Put it this way. The trouble being that it's not a lizard print by the time you get done with it. When you make this wet and work it, the lizard print stretches out of it. I really don't know what I'm going to do with this piece of leather. Can you think of anything as far as lining leathers or so forth that we aren't covering, Doug?
No, I don't think so. You might mention that you use the softer on the vamps and the stiffer on the uppers.
Yes. I don't line the...
Soft piece of pig hanging out there.
Yeah, I don't line the shaft of my boot with the same texture of leather that I line the vamp of my boot with. I use this softer tanned pigskin for the vamp. It feels nicer on the foot. I use a stiffer pigskin for the shaft of the boot. This doesn't, you can see it fits like a rag. This pigskin has a little bit of a finish to it, and it's a little boardier. I want a little bit stiffer leather. I don't want the boot to droop down around their ankles. If you use a good quality lining leather in the shaft of the boot, in the uppers of the boot, you don't necessarily have to put a heel slider in, stiffeners. This is all done simply because the boot company can buy that little piece of scrap leather that they use for a slider cheaper than they can buy quality better quality lining leather. You do end up with quite a few scraps of leather. I use them, like I said, for heel pads and heel build-ups, so forth. Scraps don't seem to be a big problem for me. I use almost all the leather on it. And I think once you got into boot making at a serious pace, you would use yours up as well. I think we'll touch a little bit on exotic skins, or the exotic skins that I like to make boots out of, I should say. I use elephant, I use shark quite a bit, I've made anteater, lizard, I've got oh, there's some shark down here I think we can bring out and show you. This is a whole shark skin, and this is a better shark skin. Give you some idea. This piece here would go directly, I'll bring it back and show you. This piece here would go directly over its head, and its gills would be in here. And this would run along the dorsal fin. The only area that you're going to end up using on it is going to be right across here. Shark, again, is a hide that you have to learn to work. It's a tough hide, very forgiving hide. Again, you want to watch the stretch on them. If you stretch a shark skin too much, you have a tendency to stretch some of the texture out of it. I always check both sides of a shark skin because they have quite a few knife cuts in them if they haven't been skinned properly. You will get a bad shark skin now and then for a lot of reasons. If a shark is caught and not skinned right away, the skin will start to deteriorate almost immediately. If they skin a shark skin out and then freeze it, you're going to have a poor quality skin. You more or less have to shop around. Find a good place that will sell you decent skins and stay with them. We'll bring some lizard out here and let you take a look at it. I've got some good lizard and some bad. This is expensive enough, I keep it in a box. Okay. I'll show you the good first. We'll go to a little darker hide here. Okay. This is a good skin. It's a soft skin. It's been taken well care of. You can get a full vamp out of one skin without piecing it, like so. Most of the boot companies today are piecing lizard right in this area here because these are more expensive. If they use a hide of this quality, there's no way that you're going to get a vamp out of it, so you're going to start piecing the small pieces together. This is what I was able to find for quite a while. You can see the quality of this skin on it. It's the older style tannage of lizard, very, very brittle, very boardy. This is what they call the new chamois tan. It's very soft. For lizard, it's very, very soft. When you work with lizards, you're going to have to back it with something. I back it with very, very thin pigskin, about 1 ounce pigskin, and I glue it on it before I even cut the vamp out to give it strength. Otherwise, you would tear it out. Most boot factories, when they work with lizard skin boots, they back them with canvas. Okay, we'll show you some python here. Python, again, is a skin that we've discovered a great variance in quality. And because it has such large scales, it's even more critical. Here's a python skin. Again, this is a good size skin. I try and buy large enough skins to where I can get the vamp out again in one piece. I put the scales going to the back of the boot, so as they walk they aren't brushing scales off. If you've been to a Western wear store lately, you've noticed that the python that they're using is what they call back cut python. The belly of the python has the biggest scales on it out here. This is a belly cut python, the finer scales here. And they run these bigger scales right up the middle of the boot, right up the middle of the vamp, here, and then they piece along the sides. I feel it loses all the aesthetic value of the skin. Part of the reason they're paying you the extra price for this skin is because it looks like a skin. I try and buy a wide enough piece to where I can do it in one piece and give them their money's worth on it. Python, again, is a skin that we've discovered the quality varies greatly as to the finish. We have got some python in that has, it almost feels like it has a plastic coating on it, and I think it would be much more durable. This is a good skin, but be aware that there are great differences in quality of this as well. In fact, what I should do, let me get a python boot here and show you, give you some idea what it looks like. Okay, here you go. If you were to take and make a belly back cut, you would have these bigger scales, the big wide belly scales running right up the toe of this boot. I don't particularly think piecing, especially on fine leather like this, fine by that I mean lightweight leather, piecing right across the area of your foot that bends the most is the best practice for building boots. It may be a cheaper way to make the boot, but I don't say it's a better practice on it.
I want to turn it sideways. See that?
Always roll your skins up with the finish to the inside. That way, if you happen to mar them, if someone comes along and happen to grab this here or set it down someplace where there's coffee spilled on your bench or something, you don't get the finish ruined on it. I'll pull some elephant out here and let you take a look at it. Elephant is again a very textured, very highly textured leather. It's a little bit stiffer leather than say your bullhide or your shark. I try and only buy the inner ear of the elephant. It's a finer grain to it. If you take and buy elephant skin that has come off the side that they've had to split down, the side of an elephant is very, very thick, so they run it through a splitter and splitter and splitter. You'll end up with very, very large texture squares in it, and the boot will have a tendency to bend between the texture squares and start breaking out on him. The ear part of it, the squares are kept to a minimum, so there's less chance of it bending just between a square. There you can kind of pick out the squares in here. Almost like a diamond effect on it. This is one of the hides, I would say, if they ask you what can I get for an exotic skin that gives them their money's worth, this is a good one. Ostrich is available. I don't normally stock ostrich because it is terribly expensive, and I can put them into lizard or full-cut boa constrictor, elephant, or shark cheaper, and I think it's a better hide. I will order ostrich in for somebody if they ask me. It works a great deal like kangaroo does, except it's extremely more durable. Anteater, I think we've got an anteater skin, or what is left of an anteater skin here. It takes 2 to 3 skins, and when you buy an anteater skin, you have to buy 3 of them. They sell them in a set of 3, mainly because they feel that it's going to take you 3 skins to cut a pair of boots out of it. I think it'd probably give you a better shot of color just like that. Anteater is a scaled skin as well, except that the scales are much larger and it has more skin behind the scale. This is one that we've cut. The vamp out of, and the counter was right here. For these 3 skins, for the 3 skins that I have a whole one on the wall up front that I use for display. It was $425 for these 3 skins. So I get on an average $700 to $750 for a pair of anteater skins, anteater boots, I'm sorry. It's not what I'd call one of my bigger sellers, but it's available, and I think you should know about it. It's a tough hide to work with. It's much easier to work with than, say, lizard skin. I save, say, this area here, and I've found a unique way of making a few bucks off of the waist, and that's simply I offer the people a belt buckle to match their boots. And when they get into this price range, they very seldom turn you down. So it's a way to use up your scraps. I think that should just about cover leather. We'll dwell into the cutting out aspect of it again when we lay out the patterns, and I'll remind you again which direction you would like to cut. As far as the rest of the leathers goes, French calf, wax calf, and so forth, it's more of an experimental basis. Each piece that you get, you're going to want to experiment with. Take a piece and wet it and stretch it and see how it does work. I am trying to eliminate an awful lot of the leather that I've got. I've probably got 150 different skins, variety-wise, color-wise, and that's not necessary. Find yourself a staple of colors, your tans, your browns, black, for your boot top color, for using on your shaft, and then offer them kangaroo in a variety of colors. Offer them a calf skin in a variety of colors, a kid skin in a variety of colors, and you can put in your exotics. Putting in a stock of exotics is very costly. We'll give you the name of a few suppliers that you can get it from quickly and in a small enough quantity to where it really isn't necessary to stock it. The disadvantage to not stocking it is simply the fact that if you sold him one pair of gray elephants and he may come back and ask you for a second pair, maybe you can't get gray elephant right there. So that's something to consider. I think we've pretty well covered her. We'll move on to cutting the boots out.